Hi, I'm Naisha McCauley, and you're watching AccessTV.org.
Welcome to the Grassroots Business Journal, where talking business is linked to social media. I am your host, Paul Wilusz, and today I have as my guest Eric Kaufman, the Managing Director of ACUMEN Business Advisors. Welcome to the show.
Thank you, Paul.
Nice to have you. During this process of getting out of the so-called recession that we've gotten into over the last 4 or 5 years here, and trying to build the economy here within the state, there's many different facets of the business, especially for small businesses, that will affect their recovery. Some people have said that too much regulation, we're going to leave the state because the state is not healthy for that. Taxes are too high, medical costs are too high. What have you seen as being maybe the issues that small businesses need to address in order to really get a foothold of getting out of the recession?
There are various levels of businesses, and during that very difficult time, including now, some businesses have been very successful and continue to be so. Mm-hmm. Others were more affected by the downturn. Mm-hmm. And have not come back. The issue of regulation, taxation, cost, a very interesting one, and one that I feel very strongly on. Mm-hmm. Our state has focused on what I'll call the effects of doing something as opposed to really getting something done. Okay. Giving money to businesses that are already profitable, to have them continue to stay in the state or move from one town to the adjacent town is not, in my opinion, the best way to proceed. Okay. Obviously, from that, I won't be running for political office. But that being said, I would rather see efficiencies in state government so that the costs of everything go down. Because if you look at it from the standpoint of a business person, yes, one is allured by a certain reduction in costs, taxation, okay, whatever you want. But wouldn't it be better for the state, or any state, to compete based upon the fact that they were the lowest cost, best run place to be in business? Mm-hmm. Period. So incentives would not be needed, because the incentive was you would be going to the least costly, best run state government and for promotion of business.
Well, with that being said, the state just had recently down in Bristol, I believe, they had a forum to see how the state can help some of the businesses around that area. Is the incentive enough for that small business to grow?
I am not familiar with the particular incentives that you're talking about.
Whether it's the training, the tax credits, etc., that they're
all across the board. Training of qualified individuals to fill jobs is a very important aspect of being able to run a business. Mm-hmm. You have to have the qualified people. I think that large businesses have a great incentive to do their own training. It's somewhat similar to what has been done in Europe for years, and that is you go through a training program, and you are not you do not get a job unless you have been trained to do certain things. In fact, quite a lot of things. A friend of mine who's an engineer went through an extensive program over the years of you might even call it classical training.
Okay.
Where although he never had to run a machine for tool and die work per se, he knows how to do it.
Okay.
We don't have that here, and I'm not suggesting that that's necessarily appropriate in all cases, but I think we have focused over the years that everyone needs to go to college. All well and good, but there are a lot of jobs that are not being filled that could use people who know how to do things. And I think we've lost some of that, and hopefully are finding it back again.
Maybe it's too philosophical or whatever to work with. Maybe explain to our audience a little bit about what you do.
Sure.
And your experience, and then we'll follow up on another question.
I provide a strategic guidance to my clients. I believe that there are 4 factors that will affect a business success. One is having the right product. Second is having the right customer. Third is having the right planning. And the fourth is having the right team. And so when I work with a client, I look at a holistic view. I see everything. I want to see everything about the business so that I can make cogent suggestions as to what needs to be tweaked.
Okay.
And so I that's basically what I do. It gets into the business model, because the business model really is the basis of running a business or keeping a business successful. Oftentimes businesses that might have been successful lose their way.
Okay.
And there are various reasons for that, but it's more important to find out how to solve the problems rather than what is normally done, and that is trying to solve the symptom of the problems.
Okay, that sounds good. Now, how have you run a business yourself? I mean, aside from the one that you have here, but I mean, and how has your experience brought you to doing this particular business here?
I started out in real estate and property management. And a partner and I had a company in New Haven for 12 years. So I've run larger organizations and found out from a standpoint of personality that I am not best suited to run a large organization.
Okay.
Other people have skill sets and personalities, which is part of having the right team. You want those people in the right position.
Okay.
And I learned that was not for me. And so I sold my company to my partner happily 14 years ago. And what happened was I ended up failing retirement. So went back to help people with businesses, and have been involved with startup ventures over the years. And I enjoy working with people who have ideas.
Okay.
Very creative aspect, and that is something that I am able to help people with.
Okay, that sounds good. Now I guess going back to where the question about the state, I'm talking at least at this part of the program, something of a broader nature, and then we can get a little bit more specific into the book that you have, and we'll go into that. Is the state of Connecticut, from what you've seen, in the right position and poised in the position that it will help that small business come out of the recession on an upswing?
The state of Connecticut has various programs and has been active as far as I know. I'm certainly not an expert in what's happening in state government, but Connecticut Innovations, for instance, has been very active in finding biotech and I believe IT type companies and working with them with funding, which is very important, and also in mentoring and expertise, which new companies need.
Exactly.
So
exactly.
from that standpoint, yes, I think the state
is going in the right direction.
Has been.
Okay.
I know for a fact, having been involved with a client in a project, that the state enjoys working with companies that are already successful.
Okay.
That's a big factor.
Okay.
No different than a bank is happy to lend to you if you have more assets than you're asking for.
Okay.
So from that standpoint, they do as well.
How has, from what you've seen, the state colleges, are they poised in the right direction to address the issues that the small business needs to have for their particular growth?
There are, to my knowledge, and again, I'm not an expert at all, but to my knowledge, there are numerous entrepreneurial programs being offered at the college level here in the state. There are also science fairs where younger students can come up with ideas and have them go through a process. I know, as a matter of fact, I know of someone whose granddaughter is going to be going to Paris to have her invention compete on an international level. So from that standpoint, developing things. But as far as what colleges are doing other than entrepreneurial studies, the Women's Center for the University of Hartford, there are a lot of programs. And not just the state, the federal. As you may remember, I'm a SCORE volunteer. So, and that's just one of numerous federal programs to help small businesses build, develop, and grow.
Now, very quickly, this just didn't happen overnight. And this recession, as to what happened. Are these fixes, you might call it, are they going in the right direction? Is it a Band-Aid? Or do we need other things as well that can also help the small business?
How much time do you have? I think that the political process engenders a knee-jerk reaction to various things. The political process may cause the problems, and then it attempts to correct them. The best federal program that I am aware of is the Jobs Act 2012 with the initiation of crowdfunding.
Okay.
I know for a fact from clients calling me, prospective clients calling me, inevitably they believe they have everything they need. All they need is the money. And that's always a problem because not that there is a shortage of money, there's a tremendous amount of money that's available for investment. Angel investment, VC capital, venture capital people, friends and family. The real problem is that those ideas oftentimes are absolutely without merit. However, to getting back, crowdfunding in particular is going to revolutionize the potential for individuals with ideas to go to a marketplace and find other individuals who think it's a great idea and will put their money in. That will be for products, new ideas. As you know, it's already for medical and other treatments that people need on an individual basis. So for just plain giving and philanthropy, that's already in place. Being able to get investors to put equity or loans together for a program is really a revolutionary thing, because when in a former life I did real estate limited partnerships. And I had to go and find people because it was not a public entity. I had to knock on doors and say, I'm building something, would you be interested in investing? Now, with the crowdfunding, it goes up on the web, and the world has the opportunity to invest. Still making decisions, still needing due diligence, but that is phenomenal.
And that's going to help the small business.
And that will help small businesses because, well, to the extent that they have products that their customers value. Because when you talk about small business, you're talking about a person offering something that they hope a customer or a lot of customers will want. If that customer doesn't want it, then no business.
Okay. With that, we'll take a break, and we'll be right back with Eric Kaufman from ACUMEN Business Advisors. Welcome back to the Grassroots Business Journal. I am your host, Paul Wilusz. My guest today is Eric Kaufman, ACUMEN Business Advisors, Managing Director. Again, a pleasure to have you on the show.
Thank you.
We've just been finishing doing some long-range philosophical discussion in regards to small business, in regards to the state, the outlook of the state, etc. But now I want to get into an area that I think that our viewers are really interested in. That is, how does a small business reach success? And you've produced a book. Can you explain a little bit about that?
Thank you. Yes, the book is entitled "The 4 Pillars of Business Success." It is being edited now, so I look forward to it coming out of that process. But
okay.
The essence of the book is that businesses fail unless they have a solid foundation. I consider that solid foundation to be 4 items.
Okay.
Having the right customer, having the right product, the right team, and the right planning.
Okay.
If you don't have those, then it doesn't matter what your logo is. It doesn't matter that you are offering discounts beyond the dreams of avarice. The bottom line is you have to have the right product for the right customer, the team to be able to deliver that product as promised, and then to plan, because having the right product is really a point in time. There are numerous examples of that, but basically it's a moving target. Take cell phones as an example. BlackBerry had a phenomenal, still does have a phenomenal product. The problem is very few people are buying it now. They're buying Android or Apple products. BlackBerry didn't move in concert with where their customers were going. So it's a moving target.
Now, has the customer changed, or the philosophy of a customer from a business changed to a factor that either that business fails or may leave the state or whatever? Today's customer, has it changed drastically among the its original concept?
Absolutely. The availability of comparable products. Your television program is web-based. People will sit at their computers and get numerous alternatives to what they're looking for via a Google search, and prices available from all over the world. Virtually instantaneous shipping, meaning you can download software, or Big Brown or FedEx can get it to you tomorrow from all over the world. Absolutely, that has changed. And because of that awareness, selling to customers has changed as well. Selling is not someone who comes in, pats you on the back, tells you how good you look, and wonders how many of his products you need. It's a consultancy. Customers, it really gets to be a client scenario where the salesperson is looking out for the customer. Is that product right for them? So the entire environment has changed, and that's what customers expect. And not that all customers are the right customers for companies, but in fact that's what customers expect, because everything is available instantaneously.
Why have you identified those 4 pillars?
I did it because it's from personal experience,
Okay.
as well as client work. I have seen clients come in, and they, again, as I mentioned earlier, they thought they had it all squared away. The product is perfect. They're ready to rock and roll. All they need is the money. A quick review would indicate, well, no, not necessarily. And I want to make sure that my clients, or anyone for that matter, doesn't waste a lot of time and a lot of money perfecting something that in the end no one really wants.
Okay.
So
Okay.
I'm coming at this process attempting to simplify for my readers what really is important. And what's important is solving the problems and not dealing with trying to solve the symptoms of whatever is wrong. In the sales environment, for an example,
Okay.
people, if a product's not selling, so let's say you have an existing company and a product's not selling, what happens? Well, the sales manager and or the marketing manager may be fired. More than likely you will see incentives, coupons, discounts, because it's not selling. We have to reduce the price. Advertising may increase, or if they're running out of money, advertising gets pulled totally. Well, none of these are going to solve the real problem, which in this case is the fact that the customer doesn't want the product.
Okay.
So unless you can objectively see that, then a company, small business, large business, is going to throw money at something which is not the target and will not solve the problem.
From your perspective, is the small business owner equipped to deal with this change of customer status and work in a direction that in solving it? Or are they capable of solving that? Or do they need someone like you to come in to really address that issue? I mean, are they actually prepared to really go through that analysis of customer wants or needs?
The first thing that a customer needs to do is to be aware of the fact that something's wrong. And it's not the economy, and it's not necessarily regulations or taxation or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
So the first thing is, something's not right. My sales are down. Depending upon the size of the company, more data. But, you know, the individual who owns a corner store
Mm-hmm.
knows if they're selling or they're not.
Okay.
Then, how do you solve it? And the solution is to get customer validation. If you've heard of the lean startup movement at all?
No, go ahead.
No, okay. Lean startup deals with making the process of starting a business efficient.
Okay.
Comes from the West Coast, as many things do, Silicon Valley. But the idea is that in customer validation, you don't build your product until you have customers who have indicated a desire and willingness to not only buy the product from you, but also pay for it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay?
Okay.
And so what I'm suggesting in my book is that any business, even a large business that has been in business for many years
Mm-hmm.
and may have been successful, but now they're seeing a trending down. There's a reason for the trending down. The product may not meet the needs of their customers. Surveys, for example, which many companies utilize, you know, how well are we doing?
Mm-hmm.
From 1 to 10, would you buy this product again? Those are not effective. And they're not effective because they don't answer the critical question of why. If you know why, you perhaps can change something.
Mm-hmm.
But if you don't, you're shooting blind in a dark alley.
So if you don't have a survey, what can you do today? Or what's the future like to address that why?
It's very simple. Talk to your customers. What are you buying? What aren't you buying? Are we servicing your needs? What can we do differently? Because you're looking for numbers. You're not looking for an individual opinion. You're looking for a group of opinions that you can then track.
Mm-hmm.
Because there are going to be individuals, like anything, who just didn't like something, and that's all there is. So that one person gets taken out of the loop. But all the others, if there's a trend,
Mm-hmm.
look at what the complaints are and deal with the complaints. What are the customers looking for? Now find the product that fits. There was a company there is a company, I should say, in Mystic, Connecticut, that has been in the machine tooling business. Not doing as well as they would have liked. They pivoted and are now manufacturing other products being sold in 50 states and across the world. Now, here's an example of they did not have the right product. They found out they needed to change, changed, and are now even more successful than before.
So what I'm hearing from you then, the word change, the business owner has to embrace that and not be afraid of that.
Oh, absolutely. Very well put.
Does that contribute to a business's failure?
Lack of change?
Lack of change.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. There are numerous stories of granddad started the company, son ran the company, grandson's now trying to run the company, and the culture that was started 50 plus years ago is so embedded in that organization that no one dares change anything.
Mm-hmm.
And that simply won't work in today's environment. Mm-hmm. It requires, success requires an awareness of what is happening. I suggest also as part of the planning that people consider strategic planning and tactical planning.
Now, as a small business owner listening to that,
Mm-hmm.
they're sitting there, well, I just have I have a small business, I have a small store.
Yeah.
Wow, that just seems too much. I mean, strategic. That sounds like a massive, like a Fortune 500 company or something along this line there. How do I do that?
It is merely the analysis of what's happening around you. If you are a neighborhood store, what's happening down the street and in your town? If you're a regional business, what's happening in your region or state? You can take it can be scaled at any level. The point is that it is imperative for people to be aware of their environment, what is affecting their customers, so they can plan ahead. It's all about being able to stick your head up from the forest and take a look. and if you do that, you are communicating with your customers to find out what their likes, dislikes are.
Okay.
You are looking around to see what's happening in your environment. That's where the planning comes in. And then the second part of that is the tactical side, which is basically, now that I know what I want to do, I've anticipated what's happening in my environment, now how do I make it happen?
Now, I'm seeing that we're coming close to our end of the program here. Again, just tell our viewers a little bit about the book again, The 4 Pillars of Business Success.
Yes. The working title is The 4 Pillars of Business Success. It focuses on the foundation of what I believe a successful business needs to have in order to not only attain success, but to maintain success.
Okay. How can they get a copy of the book? And is there a contact that they would be able to for you?
I would be very pleased if they communicated with me at my website, and I can put their name in for the order. I'm anticipating a fall publication.
Okay.
So we're not there yet, but we're getting real close.
And what phone number can they call you at?
My office number is 860-678-0477.
And the website?
www.acumenbusinessadvisors.biz, B-I-Z.
Okay. So again, if you're looking for success and you really want to know the grassroots information regarding success, check out 4 Pillars of Business Success by Eric Kaufman. Eric, it's been a pleasure having you on the show.
Thank you, Paul. It's in mine.
Very good. You've been watching the Grassroots Business Journal. I've been your host, Paul Wilusz. Until we meet again, keep talking business and link it to social media.